outline, how do you apply, the funding, what you can expect. We'll also have our panelists, which are people who were awarded from a previous cohort who are here as well, so you can hear about their experience and how the program impacted them as well. All right. So the Wusha Business Program was created by the Commerce Department, and we partner with PIDC to help us facilitate it as well. It is intended to help small businesses grow, obtain new contracts, increase revenue, and create jobs in Philadelphia. The program provides a $50,000 forgivable loan based on their impact, feasibility, and achievement of their growth plan goal. So the process is to pretty much submit a growth plan goal, which we'll get into, achieve it within the 1 year. The term is for 1 year, and then you also have to have attend the business support sessions as well, which we'll get into, and then your loan will be forgiven. The support sessions are intended to make sure that businesses stay on track with achieving their goal, so they don't have to pay their funds back. This cohort, we will be selecting 20 businesses. Part of the support sessions will be 12 group support sessions in person here at PIDC with your cohort, and then you will also have 6 one-on-one sessions again to ensure that you are achieving your growth plan goal. So this business is specifically for businesses who have a minimum revenue of $350,000 and who have been open for at least 2 years.
Okay, so my name is Philadelphia. I am with the Department of Commerce as well. I manage the Boost program alongside Maya. Thank you for being here today. So I'm just going to go over the eligibility criteria. The business must confirm and or submit proof of commercial activity license number. Independent ownership. Franchises are eligible only if independently owned. Compliance with all federal, state, and local taxes and federal, state, and local licenses and permits required to legally operate. So the program outline. So phase 1 is the application period. Businesses complete the online application and upload all required documents. Phase 2, Commerce confirms eligibility and reviews submitted documents. Phase 3, Commerce selects a cohort of 20 awardees subject to loan approvals. So in phase 5, the applications are forwarded to PIDC for loan processing and are subject to background checks for the business owners and includes underwriting, review of growth plan, loan closing, and disbursement of funds. And in phase 5, we have 12 months of business support with PIDC. Mandatory participation for all workshops and one-on-one coaching sessions is required to assist in achieving the growth plan goals and obtaining loan forgiveness. And then we have the program graduation in phase 6, where the achievement of growth plan goals and loans are forgiven. So how do you apply? What must be uploaded with the application? So the application opened on July 1 and the deadline is approaching. It's going to be on August 31st. So you're going to submit the business growth plan that should include revenue, jobs, contracts, budget, goals, and financial documents, which should include 2026 year-to-date profit and loss statement and balance sheets, 2024 and 2025 federal tax returns, 2 years operating projections, and a debt schedule plan. And we also need your formation documents, so that could be certificate of organization or articles of incorporation, operating agreement if applicable. We also require photo ID, a credit authorization form, and a commercial activity license, which you see the pictures reflected. Okay, thank you guys.
Next, we'll have Carmel from PIDC to discuss underwriting and the process moving forward.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carmel Dean. I'm a senior loan officer here at PIDC. As our colleagues at the Commerce Department mentioned, PIDC's capabilities with the Booster Business Program include loan processing and the 12 months of business support services that happen post-closing. Today, I will give a brief overview of the underwriting and closing processes, and my wonderful colleague Marla, will give some information on the business support services and the technical assistance expected post-closing. So once Commerce have selected their 20 businesses, it'll send an introductory email between PIDC and the business. And at that point, you can expect an email from your loan officer, likely to be me and one other colleague, to schedule an initial underwriting call. And the PIDC underwriting for the booster business is typical to our usual underwriting in that we do background checks for the business and the owners, we do credit checks for the owners, and we do tax compliance for the business. We'll also do an in-depth analysis of the 2 years of financials provided, so 2.5 years kind of, the 24, 25 and year-to-date 26, as well as the 2 years of projections provided. As you probably grasped, the basis of the Booster Business Program is the growth plan that you submit. So a lot of our call and our analysis is in the feasibility and the achievability of that. Can that growth plan be reasonably achieved within 12 months and with the budget stated? So I just can't emphasize enough the time you should spend on your growth plan. Make it clear, make it have the budget tied into your goals and have it specific to the goal. I'm going to buy one delivery van. That is going to cost $35,000. I'm going to hire one person, one salesperson at $15 an hour. That for their expected salary or wages for the next 6 months is this. The timeline, I was lucky enough to underwrite the last cohort, and I found the ones that moved through underwriting the quickest were the ones that had the detail in there and had provided a detailed timeline. And it was very easy for us to say, oh yeah, okay, that could be achieved in 2 months. Whereas the other ones maybe needed a little bit back and forth between the owner and us, which is fine. We're good to do that. But I just want to, for yourselves, this is just when you're writing a growth plan, detailed and precise. And a little bit of a background about yourself and the business too. We don't want to take up more of your time than is needed for this process. I will say as well a couple of, something that we have the benefit of doing in that underwriting call is if you feel, okay, I submitted the growth plan last year, in summer 2026. I feel like I'd like to tweak one of those goals a little bit, maybe just change the slight bit. We have that opportunity to discuss that at that call as well. So assuming your forgivable loan is approved, the PIDC underwriting team will move you to closing where you meet our legal team. The loan closing process is again in a cohort model. So, you may be one of the first people that got underwritten, but we move to closing at the same time. Or the loan docs will state will have the basis of forgiveness, which are achievement of your growth goals and participation in the 12 months business support services post-closing. Collateral on the forgivable loan is a blanket lien on business assets and personal guarantees from all of the owners. All owners with 20% or greater interest in the business. So are you maybe thinking, what if I don't achieve my growth goals? Or what if something happens mid-year and I can't participate in the business support services any longer? What happens to my loan then? The loan docs will also include a a repayment schedule, you know, in the event that if this loan does need to be termed out. Honestly, I want to emphasize that is not the goal of this program. We want everyone to be forgiven. We want everyone to do their 12 months business support services and come out on the other end strong. Closings are expected at the end of Q1 2027, and disbursements happen all at one time, so you will receive your $50,000. They are subject to audit, so let's just say you are buying that truck or that van, or keep receipts, keep the payroll, keep it all in the event that we do end up having spot checks. I think that's all from underwriting and closing. All I would say is just, if you are one of the first ones, maintain patience, okay? It does take a little bit of time to move 20 businesses along, but once you get that introductory email from me or from somebody at PIDC, you are welcome to reach out and be like, hey, what's the status? And we're more than happy to kind of keep you guys in the loop and let you know where things are. Yeah, I think that's all for me.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marla Hamilton, Senior Vice President of Client Engagement here at PIDC. And I'm just very, very happy to see all of you who are here in person, particularly those who are in person. I'll tell you why. And I know how many do we have online? 106. We have 106 people online. So for those of you who are online, we hope you are paying close attention and not being distracted by things around you. So, do I have a clicker? This is support. So you will be working with me for 12 months. You will get sick of me, right? For 12 months. We're impossible. Oh. You're gonna get 6 one-on-one business support sessions every other month. So I'm going to meet with you one-on-one. We're going to talk about your growth goals. Our job is not to judge your growth goals. They are what you selected. Our job is to help you achieve them, because ultimately we want everyone to get loan forgiveness. You will get 12 workshops, cohort workshops. What does cohort workshops mean? Anybody tell me? If they're in person, what else? Group sessions. And so for the 20 or 25 business owners who are selected, you will come together as a cohort. You'll get 12 of those group sessions monthly, and each one is led by a subject matter expert. And we'll go over various business topics and concepts. Monthly check-ins. So some of that will be in the group sessions. Some of it will be in the one-on-ones. Excuse me. We will provide you with resources to help you achieve those growth goals. Next slide, please. So how do you obtain loan forgiveness? This is so important. At the last cohort, we had 20 businesses selected. How many got loan forgiveness? 18. Which means 2 businesses did not receive loan forgiveness and now are repaying $50,000. So how do you get loan forgiveness? You must demonstrate achievement of your stated growth plan goals, including mandatory participation in all business support sessions. What kind of participation? Mandatory. Mandatory. And they are in person. And they are here at PIDC. And they are on Monday morning. At what time? 8:30. 8:30. With breakfast. With breakfast. So we do give you breakfast when you show up. So we will provide each business owner with 12 months of support. And again, it's to assist you. You select these goals. Our job is to help you achieve those goals. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to ask some of the business owners who just completed boost your business in the spring. We're gonna ask them to come up and we're gonna ask them some questions. And we're going to let you ask them some questions. Mark? Louise? Jessica? So the first thing I want is for each person, give us your name, your company, and what your company does.
Hi, good morning. I'm Francesca Galeras. I'm co-owner of Mural City Cellars. We're an urban winery in Fishtown. We make 5,000 cases of wine from locally available grapes, and we run a wine bar and retail shop 6 days a week.
All right, so hold on. How many people drink wine? How many people have been to Mural City Cellars? So one of the
Thank
things
you.
that we also make sure is that you are networking with each other in these group sessions. You will come to know each other in 12 months. So we want to make sure that you patronize and support each other. Next person.
Good morning. My name is Luis Incapien. I'm the owner of Fortaleza Physical Therapy Centers. We've been in business since 1995, and we are located in the North Philadelphia and Northeast areas. And happy to be here to answer anything I can for this one program.
How many people have ever needed physical therapy? How many people have ever gone to a Fortaleza? Okay. Next person.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Coleman. I'm the founding president and CEO of the Tactile Group. We build complex data collection, data translation software for primarily public sector, including federal government and the city of Philadelphia. Located here right in Center City, right here, walk away.
You're across the street. Mark, do you do web design for commercial businesses?
We do.
How many people have websites? How many people are satisfied with their websites? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the networking that happens within this group. So the first question is, what made you decide to apply? Be honest.
50K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So answer.
And
Initially, 50K, but it changed.
Yeah, and there's that third $50,000. Everybody's gonna.
so everybody wants the 50,000 loan to be forgiven. What went into your growth goals, determining your growth goals?
Well, I'll jump in. We knew that we needed to hire some folks. We knew that there's going to be some onboarding costs of that. We knew we could use that money to help us achieve that. But what really, that was the initial thought. But once we got into this cohort stuff, we learned so much more, and we kind of trimmed tab what our goal was going to be. So the money was great, but the free learning, that is the part that's kind of really gold.
Same, that's why I said that initially 50,000 was the bait, but once the program started, the money was good, but it didn't mean nothing compared to what was learned through the 12 months. And as I was working on the goals, growth to me was important because we had just opened up a clinic up in the Farmer East, and I wanted to have access to capital to obtain that growth.
When we applied for this program, we moved into our flagship location after bouncing around from several locations within the Fishtown neighborhood. And we were really looking to stabilize and establish ourselves in a single location and grow our business in a meaningful way. So the 50,000 definitely helped us do that, but our growth goals were focused around hiring a full-time winemaker, which we were able to replace my partner's, my co-owner and my partner's job. We were looking to release a new line of wine, so pushing the boundaries of like what we were known for and what we were capable of. And we were looking to open a 6-day a week, increasing revenue. So were our goals and what we were looking for. When we started the program, we had hired and fired a GM in 2 months. Was extremely stressful. That's all I talked about for the first 6 months of the program. But being in the room with all of these people and meeting one-on-one with Marla and my partner and I getting to participate together, we really worked through that and we grew. And now we have a GM who just made her 90 days and she's doing really well.
Now, obviously, the three of you were selected based on your application and the feasibility of the growth goals. But with the benefit of hindsight, what would you have done differently in determining those growth goals in submitting your application?
Kind of hard in hindsight, because, actually, after sitting down with you once we were in the program, if I had that kind of knowledge, that kind of insight, I would have, my growth was probably slightly different from the beginning. But, one thing I will say about the application process is that, just make sure you know your finances, right, going into this, because they're gonna dig into it. It's a financial application, so make sure everything's complete, and make sure everything is, give them everything you asked for. They're going to give you $50,000. Your folks got it right.
And I think that transparency is important. You know, obviously, you want that loan forgiveness, and I think Carmel stated it earlier, or someone that they want to give you this not for it to be a loan, but to be forgivable. They will work with you. So I think transparency helps that process so that they can say, so what does this mean? Or can you explain this to me? Or how will you achieve these goals? Because you guys know your business better than they do. And the more transparent and the more, you know, a lot of times banks will look at black and white. But there's a story. Every one of your businesses has a story. And sometimes being able to tell that story as clear as possible may help make that decision for them.
Yeah, I'm gonna underline what both of them said. Thank you. Transparency and honesty. And I've also had a similar experience with banks and not understanding who we are and what we do, but being able to explain and have the narrative with PIDC has been so important. I will also say that it's really hard to determine exactly how you're going to spend funds. I just finished my application to Catalyst and it changes so often. And sometimes you don't hear from these programs for 6, 8 months and your goals have changed. And that's okay. I think about where you are now and what your goals are. That may change, but Marla and the PIDC team are here to support you in that. And they're not going to say, oh, this isn't exactly what you said when you started, because they're going to understand your business and the path and the growth that you had over the 12 months of coaching, and know where you are. So just think really clearly about what you want today, and it's okay if that morphs a little bit.
Don't you mind that? So one of the things that we do is, as they said, with the benefit of hindsight and coming to the group sessions and hearing from the subject matter experts and the one-on-one coaching, you'll start to say, what was I thinking when I made that growth goal? And we'll go over that. But one of the things that we want to see is that you are serious about the growth goals, that you are working hard to achieve those growth goals. And what's important is that you recognize, maybe I could have done this a little differently, but I'm still going to press to try to reach these goals. And so in those instances, I'll go back to Maya and I'll make a case for you. I'll advocate for you, even if the goals change somewhat. I'll advocate you, Maya, and Maya will either say, yes, that's acceptable, or she'll say, no, that's not acceptable. All right, so let me ask, what was challenging about managing your time with the 12 months?
It's a full day. It is definitely a full day. I mean, for me, it's easy. I mean, you're a little, everybody has a more commute than yourself. But it's time well spent. You gotta be here to take full advantage. You have to be here to give the loan forgiveness. So just make the commitment to take the time. But it is a commitment of time, and you have to commit to it at the beginning and show up every time.
One of the things we were so focused on though was pulling ourselves out of the day to day. And one time Marla said, sorry, but if you can't pull yourself away for 4 hours on a Monday, you're not a business owner. You created a job for yourself. So it's part of it. This is the thing you should be working on when you're owning a business, taking a step back, being with other business owners and leading the growth of your business rather than operating it day to day.
For as much as a juggling it was to figure out, how to have everything said to come down here, because for me, it would be almost the whole day event. After the first session that I attended, I was hooked and I was addicted, and I looked forward to it, and I planned my calendar year a year in advance, and Marla would send an email saying, hey, want to add another date because we have this topic that we think would be good. I'm like, I'm in, and I was really addicted to the wealth of knowledge that was presented to us.
I want to kind of jump on that. When Wildman originally says they get subject matter experts, these people are at the top of their field. These people you cannot, that if you walk in their office, they charge you a lot of money to give you this advice you're getting as part of this program. So don't underestimate the power of these subject matter experts. You get Ricky Reynolds, you had top financial people, we had just people on every single topic you could think of about your business, and they're at the top of their field. So yeah. Plus the people in the room, or your coworker mates, they are looking at businesses through different lenses. I mean, this really interactive kind of engagement every time. So that in-person time is not just, it's very good time, very well spent.
I think what's important also is this is not for startups, right? You have to come in with at least 2 years of operating experience. Because the topics, you have to be able to relate to the topics. How much time did you spend outside of the group sessions and the one-on-one sessions preparing for the group sessions or what we were discussing in the one-on-ones? How much time?
I think that I would spend probably at least 2 days a week because I wanted to understand each of the presenters and what was discussed at the previous session so that it's very difficult to absorb everything they're talking about in one session. And we all have different type of businesses. So I found myself going back and going over your summary that you would send in the emails and seeing how that particular speaker would be applicable to my business. The other thing I learned too was to be flexible. We all have our businesses and we all have our way that we do business. I had to step back and say, never thought about it that way, and I think if there's a little bit of flexibility and you're pliable to what you're learning and not afraid to make that change and do things differently than what you've done. I think for me personally, that extra time that I spend outside of coming to the sessions was worth it for me. It allowed me to say, you know what, I never thought about it that way. Let me switch gears and pivot in a different direction.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify exactly because it just becomes part of your operation. My partner and I would leave here and we would talk incessantly about what we had just learned, and then we would apply it almost immediately or kind of back burner it and think about it and get our leadership team involved. So the lessons we learned here just became part of our operation. So all the time.
For us, for me also, there's a lot of time after. So you get all this great information in class, these takeaways, and these examples. Like, let me take this sheet of paper and see how I can, oh wow, I'm seeing things in my business I needed differently because plus I learned in class. So my time spent outside of class was after.
So one of the things that I can use all three of you as examples. So Francesca's partner, her life partner, is also her business partner. And
Recommended.
how many people are spouses or partners in life and partners in business also? I show of hands. All right. And so what I used to say to Francesca and her partner, I'd say, Francesca, you're wrong. Nicholas is right. Nicholas, you're wrong. Francesca is right. And that was the push and pull that they were having in the business. And here I step in as a third party and validate what one or the other of them was already thinking. For Mark, I remember walking in Mark's office with the one-on-one because we wanted his key employees to be a part of the one-on-one also, because they need to hear what the business owner is going through, and I said to them, this does not make sense to me. I can't figure this out. And so they gave me a marker and I went on the whiteboard and I said, this is what I'm seeing as your organizational chart. And it was a little disruptive, but Mark came to me afterwards and thanked me for it because he had been having that same challenge. But sometimes you can't figure out how you make those changes with key employees without offending them. And so we had several partners where, so Rich, for example, and Maury, I remember doing a one-on-one with the key employees. And one of the partners said, I never said this to Rich, but I'm going to say it now. And so it almost becomes like a therapy session because you get to say things that you have been thinking, but there wasn't space to actually articulate that.
So, yeah, she gave me a few months, but in a really good way. She was like, this is, you're doing this wrong. Yeah, you need to think about this and reorganize how you're thinking about your company. It's like, well, you're right. So, you have to like put your ego aside for this. It's really hard as a business owner to do that sometimes. But Amara in particular has been doing this for a long time. We've seen every service center here. She can has insights that you won't have sitting where you're sitting in your business. But you have to put your ego out of it to listen to the knowledge that's available in this program.
And I think last thing, let me just walk through. I think the last thing is when we're talking about your growth goals reflect how you think as a business owner. And sometimes how you think, generally how you think permeates throughout the organization. And you are oftentimes in an echo chamber. You're just hearing yourself all day. You're just hearing yourself. And so what's important is to be able to change your thinking and your perspective, which is going to happen in the one-on-one, but it's really going to happen in the group sessions. Because you will start to hear peers say things that you had not thought about or that you thought about, but your thinking needed to change. And when you hear someone else who has done it, it makes you think that's a part of my problem. I can change. And you also have, if you have 20 people, you have 19 other business owners who are there to help, and they help each other. In these group sessions, sometimes the facilitator, the subject matter expert just stops. And they're talking amongst themselves. Well, try this, try this. This is what I did. So the last person, introduce yourself, Miss.
Good morning, everyone. I do apologize for my tardiness. I was putting out some fires this morning. My name is Dominique Calhoun. I am the founder and principal designer for Remix Living. We are an interior design firm here in Philadelphia, and we focus on residential, but we're trying to get into the commercial space as well. So I was a recipient of the Boost program last go round, and it was a great experience. My target goals were marketing, in which I learned so much about that entire process with going through the program and, just increasing some pay on my end and hiring another person to help support the business. So it was a great experience. Definitely a lot of lessons learned throughout the process. I am currently now enrolled in another program to help support my growth, helping me with some accounting stuff on the back end. So that's another 12-month program. I was able to secure due to the relationship here at PIDC and with Marla. So you're definitely in a good space. PID supports 100%. I've heard so many great things from just other recipients of the program that have been able to take advantage of great things to help just fund your business all around. So anything else? Great.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happens also is PIDC outside of Boost Your Business has a number of initiatives to help business owners. And what we have done, because learning is ongoing, you never stop growing. You just never stop growing. Particularly when you put yourself in this kind of environment, in this kind of space, it really shows up. Right? Education is continuous. So with PIDC, each one of these business owners is now in a PIDC initiative. Francesca, you're 12 months, you're in a 12-month initiative, a business coaching. So she has a dedicated coach working with her for 12 months. Luis,
Same.
dedicated 12 months. Mark, you're in the 6-month executive coaching program. And Dominique is in a 12-month program also. The boost is the foundation for you, and then you will find that continued business growth is ongoing. And so our commitment is you are in Philadelphia. You can be anywhere. Great that you are in Philadelphia, that you are supporting neighborhoods, that you are hiring people in Philadelphia, and that this $50,000 goes a long ways to helping you improve your business. So as we you would offer to the applicants as they are putting their application together and anything that you want them to consider.
I would say, if that's what I do, just be very clear on your ask. I went in with a ton of things that I thought I would make everybody have, from just working with Carmen and the team to help make sure my ask was very clear and very specific and the dollars were to a T of, around that marketing umbrella and which different things it was going to cover, because it's not going to expand forever like I thought it was. It was be very clear in your ask and be very to the T if you can with your numbers. So I knew how much I wanted to pay the person that I was upgrading their responsibilities, how much I needed to pay the person I was hiring for the role, how much I needed to put but I wanted to get from the marketing budget. So just be very clear in your head.
I'd say prioritize this application amongst everything you have to do over the last couple months, because those are being longer than you think it is, because they do ask a lot of information, and to be clear in that initial ask, you got to really understand it. So don't wait till the last minute to start this application. Start doing it now.
I think that as you focus on your application, don't be complacent. I mean, a lot of us are in the business for a while and the status this you can't be complacent. Step back, look at your growth and how that could affect and impact the future. And that will catapult into other programs that PIDC has. On your comment, Marla, it was so impressive where some of the speakers reflect back and say, oh, I remember, 6 years ago when we did this program. So it's almost like it becomes a family. It becomes a family and you're never disconnected.
Well, I don't know what's going on these days. Okay, thanks.
Only one can work at a time. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with Louise. I think that one of the most impactful things that Mural City Sellers ever did was become a client of the PIDC, and that was through our first loan, which was for a commercial build out. And we just stayed in touch. I read all their newsletters. I come here to the office with it. Touch with them. To stay connected, and see what else the PIDC has to offer, as well as the Department of Commerce.
Any questions for the panelists? No questions? Any questions for me?
I can have a question. I was going to ask, what
We
was,
need you, we need you on the mic.
I was going to ask, what would you guys say is the most difficult part about the application? You said that we should start down, so what, what aspect should we focus on the most?
Well, having your financials can take a while if you don't have them ready, so that your projections can take a long time. But I would say the most important part of the application is the growth goals. So really thinking about those and what you want to accomplish. Thank you.
I also think that if you look at the list, just take one list, one task, focus on that, get that out of the way, move on to the next one. Because there is a lot of information, but if you look at it, you're like, wow, there's no way I can do this. I would just take number one, check, number two, check, and so on. That way you keep yourself on track.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like with all of this stuff, it's just about being organized. The financials are important. Once you have your financials together for anything you can apply for, so other things with PIDC that come up you can apply for. But once those financials are in order, it's like limitless of the help you can get.
And your taxes too.
Yes.
This is very true, and after, you guys ask questions, I will reiterate that, just to make sure y'all heard them clearly.
If you don't know, you won't know this, but I'll come back to what you do know. Anyway, I applied to Catalyst and I was rejected because I had a very small amount owed on my BERT and I just wasn't up to date. I didn't even know it. And I found out 6 months later that I was rejected from Catalyst, even though they pulled my tax clearance or tried to pull it 6 months earlier. So it was a very frustrating situation. But you can just go on the Philadelphia website and pull your own tax clearance, so you can just check really, really easily.
Yeah. The tax part is important.
Microphone, yes, sir.
Thank you. One of the first questions that I wanted to ask, because it seems like everyone on the panel are operating and running for-profit companies. I am in the nonprofit realm. Do this still apply to the nonprofit realm as well? This funding here.
Do you have a for-profit related to your business or just strictly a nonprofit?
Well, we're trying to bridge into that with an aftercare program, which will generate funding for the for-profit kind of thing to help us with operating. But as of right now, we're just still in the nonprofit realm.
Then, no. If it was open, you were open, the for-profit section of it was open for at least 2 years, then you would be eligible. But this program is specifically for small businesses.
Okay. My next question is because I heard you guys mention this subject experts. I remember in Philadelphia, there used to be an organization down here called the Small Business Association, and they had a panel of score people, like senior people that were out of the business realm that would mentor? Is that similar to what your such? Oh, no.
Now, we have people generally who are business owners themselves.
Okay.
And they're running their own businesses. They have their own practices. And they are kind enough to come in and spend time working with you once you're in the cohort.
Got it.
Any other questions? In the back, microphone?
Thank you. And you guys spoke about financials and taxes. I believe you guys would have filed taxes already because you got the money last year. Because this is a forgivable loan and loans are not tax exempt. Once it becomes forgivable, would it show up as a grant and then are you taxed on that?
You were taxing that money.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it shows up as ordinary income.
Yep.
Yeah, just deposit right into your business account.
But also, you have to report that as income. That's expensive.
All right, yeah, that's why I wasn't sure because forgivable loan and loan are getting different. Okay.
I will say the one thing that people talk about that I would sorry, I don't know how accurate it is, but when I had a forgivable loan on my business account records, my credit score was down a little bit, but when I paid it off, it went back up. So it kind of really temporarily affected our credit rating, but actually we ended up being in a higher state by the time we ended up in the programs.
Yeah, it's a really great question to understand this process completely. One of the great things about this program is you get the money right away. There's other programs where you have to do the whole coaching session and then you get the money at the end as a reward. So this happens right away. It sits on your balance sheet for a full year. And then at the end, when you graduate, it moves to profit on your business.
I agree. My name is Simon. I own a Coca-Cola at the Reddington Market. All of you are welcome to come and have some fruits. If I notice you, I'll give you free fruits. My question is because I think I was too fast after seeing the 50 they are applied already. And after this meeting, I think there's some things I need to edit. Is it possible to have the application back and do some editing?
Never had that question before. What is it you need to edit?
I didn't put the numbers that you can see how all the 50K will be used. Yes.
Oh, okay. Do it.
Oh, it's normal.
You can send us an email.
Good morning. So my question is, if you're an owner of multiple businesses, do you dive into each business because it's tied to that one person, or is it just the business that you're applying for? As far as taxes and,
It's for the specific business that you're applying for.
okay,
And I think if I could focus on the business, that you'll be able to be compliant with the loan forgiveness. So you have multiple businesses. Which of those businesses will allow you to achieve your goals?
And meets the requirements of the program for eligibility as well.
But you'll learn lessons that will apply to all of them.
And this is very true.
And make sure your growth goals are. And this might. Maybe it applies to you, but for everyone, don't necessarily do what you think is the easiest in order for you to get the money. Because we're going to take a deep dive into your growth goals. And we want to know the thinking of growth goals, want to know your strategies for obtaining your growth goals. Sometimes the growth goal is just a symptom, but your larger issue impacts that. So you have to fix A before you can implement the growth plan. So for example, everybody is going to do it as a growth goal. But if you're successful in your marketing campaigns, do you have the infrastructure in place to handle all of the new business that you're now getting or the new inquiries that you're getting based on marketing?
And then I also remember that marketing workshop with Wendy where you were like, what are you marketing? You don't even have a business yet. We went through a whole exercise to be like, you can't even focus on marketing because your operations aren't in order.
So people think if I just do marketing, I'll get more business. And that will increase my revenue. But if you're not prepared with the infrastructure to handle all the new business, you kind of get one shot in business. You do it right, or you don't get the chance to do it again. Any other questions for the panel?
Okay, stop it.
No?
All right. Well, Maya, we'll turn it over to you. I would ask the panelists to stay in case some of the other questions come up and you can relate your experiences.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How many growth goals did you have, Francesca? 3. You had 3. How many did you achieve? 3. Louise, how many did you have?
3 and 3.
Mark?
3 and 3.
3 and 3.
Okay.
I think I had like 5. And yes, like Dominique, come on down.
50,000 goes quick.
Yes.
It's aggressive, but we have to be realistic.
Realistic, yeah.
Agreed. I think, in relation to the growth plan, when we are selecting people, Mario stated, don't pick the easiest goal, but we do want you to have realistic goals, because it's contingent on your loan being paid. So, pick goals that will allow your business to grow, that you have identified maybe are pain spots within your business that you need, additional flex income to be able to support you in doing it. We have the panelists. I want to thank them because I think it's always good to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, about their experience, how they use the funds. You've already heard them say that they had their goals and they achieved them, but they also picked goals that they knew that they couldn't achieve. Sometimes you may have a goal that seems simple, and then once you start diving into it, it gets a little bit more complex. You may have to curve your ending of what you said your growth plan is, but that's okay. You may also have a long-term goal. If you have a long-term goal and you want to use the $50,000 to support it, you need to write in your growth plan what will be the goal that you achieve for the year, the term of the loan. So if your goal may ultimately take 3 years, you need to state what you will achieve in that first year in order to receive loan forgiveness. Again, we will be flexible with some of the people, but it also can't be like you're not going to achieve the goal at all. Things change. There were like some people in a cohort who their goal got a little tampered with because of new regulations from, the president and things of that sort that, really affected their business, and they had no idea when they applied that rules would be changed or there would be, a hold on specific things. And so therefore it affected their growth plan goal, which was out of their control. So in that instance, we will work with you, which is why we have, our team at PIDC to really, get in the weeds with you all to make sure that you can attain your goals. Carmel being the first initial one, we do our review and selection. She goes over your goals again, we discuss it. And as she said, she'll talk to you about some of the goals that you may want to consider tweaking so that you can have it achieved within the 1-year term. And then Marla is always here for support, especially once you receive the funds, to make sure that you stay on track, because I'm sure you guys know as business owners, there is always something that comes up. There is always something that is immediate that you have to address, and things of that sort. And some of those things you can also bring to the table, to the cohort, to the experts that are going to present in the support sessions and to the team at PIDC, and they may be able to help you and assist with that. You know, we've had some other people who need additional support, and Marla came to me and we supported them in ways that were, different from just the regular term of the program, because the ultimate goal is for every business to receive loan forgiveness. So the first thing, especially when you're applying, is to make sure that you're tax compliant. If you do not, that's the first thing that we check for when you are applying. So if you are not tax compliant, you're not going to move to the second page to have your application officially reviewed for selection. So that is a critical part. We do state it. Again, you can go and check and see if you are tax compliant, but it is mandatory that you be. You can be on a payment plan, that's fine, but you do have to be tax compliant in order to be considered to move forward with the selection process.
The seriousness of sorry, thank you. The seriousness of your growth goals, we are meeting in October, right? So we finish in April. We're doing a 6-month check with those businesses to see how they're working out with their growth goals. And then we're doing a 1-year checkup. So we're going to meet again in October, and then we're going to meet again in April of 2027, based on the growth goals. So this isn't just a growth goal to get the 50,000. The city wants the 50,000 to have impact, lasting impact.
And I want to say that's a testament to, the cohort as well. You guys have been a session or two or something of that sort just to see how it's going. And they really built, their own community with each other. They fraternize each other businesses, they support each other throughout the cohort, and they've also been kind enough to show up, and give their testimonies about how impactful the program was for them and where they currently are with their business too. So we addressed the growth plans, tax compliance, the business support sessions. You've heard how valuable they are. Do want to reiterate, as Marla said, they are mandatory. Of course, if you have an emergency or something like that, you will let her know in advance and things, but it is critical in order to receive loan forgiveness. And so it was put in place to make sure that you can receive loan forgiveness, because you heard that you get the money up front once you close on your loan. And it's just intended to make sure that businesses remain focused on their goals and that they can receive loan forgiveness. That's the ultimate goal for us, and we built the infrastructure to ensure that it happens. So if it doesn't happen, it's probably, reluctancy on the business owner's part. But again, 18 businesses got forgiven in the last cohort, and that was great. The times before, they all were forgiven.
How many of the business owners on the panel, how many sessions did you miss?
I missed one because of a family death.
I missed one because I was in China.
I missed the first one.
0. Francesca needs an award.
I was 50.
And my sessions with Marla were very long sometimes. She would give it to me like, oh my goodness. We would be on the calls. One time it was 2 hours?
At least.
2 hours, but it was all good stuff. Like stuff that had me thinking, stuff that had me re-strategizing. It was really good.
Well, the one-on-ones are 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think we were.
So we were on
3.
Yeah.
Somebody else on therapy.
That would be called as the therapy.
Yeah, no, therapy.
Could I sneak one more question to the panel from online? Amanda asked, did any of the panelists think they were not ready for growth? Rather have more loose ends on the operational process, cost of goods sold, excessive rental expenses? And if yes, why do you think the program accepted you?
That's a good question, and I think as the session went on, and I personally learned more about the business aspect of my business, the financial aspect of my business, it wasn't that it was an overload, but it was thought provoking, where I could tweak certain things that we were doing internally that helped me stay on track and create the growth.
There's never a perfect time to jump into something like this. You're always gonna feel imperfectly prepared. So wherever you are in your journey, you just gotta understand that it's, if you can get enough together, put the application together, and they accept you, and you're ready. I mean, it's never gonna be a perfect time.
Sometimes pivoting is just necessary, like get your application together, you get in, and then you're around like-minded individuals and coaching that can help guide you on other things that can better prepare your operational stuff down the line. So just do it.
Yeah, I will echo all of that and just say that's the constant push and pull of running a small business is growing and also stabilizing. We had just embarked on a huge growth period when we moved into our flagship location. And we were looking to optimize that, I guess I should say. So it wasn't like we were pushing growth further and further. It was like, okay, now we're here. Now what can we do?
Thank you.
Alrighty, so now we're gonna get into some key dates for the program timeline, so you guys can be aware what to expect. So as we mentioned before, the application opened July 1st and it ends August 31st. So you still have 21 days to submit an application. If you have questions, once you get into the application, if you're interested in applying, you can send us an email at boost@phila.gov. We'll always be there to answer any questions for you. Next, once we have our selection, you will be notified by PIDC in November 20th. Commerce Department and to say that you're gonna transition to PIDC for a little underwriting, and then Carmel or someone from her team will contact you in regards to underwriting to discuss your growth plan goals and also prepare you to close on your loan. So March 31st, 2027. I know it's a little bit of time, but it is 20 businesses that we're trying to select. They have to go through underwriting and things of that sort. We have to prepare. So it is, and you include the holidays as well. This is how we got to the date. You'll close on your loan. Then April 12th, you will begin the business support sessions with Marla in order to achieve your growth plan goals. And they will begin, they'll be monthly. She will also send out an email in between that before that so that you'll know when the support sessions are, the group sessions and also the one-on-ones. And then I think she allows you to schedule when you need your one-on-one so that it works for you as well.
I just seeing this timeline is just reminding me of this process and how it can take a while. And when you think about your goals, you're not getting this money until 3/31/27. So your goal shouldn't be focused on like this year or needing the money immediately. It has to be looking into the future.
Thank you for that. And then in April 2028, we have the graduation and loan forgiveness. So someone will contact you before that. You'll know if your loan forgiven before that. I meet with the PIDC team regularly on the back end. So initially you'll see me in the beginning and then eventually it'll just be solely, you'll work with the people from PIDC. And we meet regularly. So I'm always up to date on where the businesses are throughout the year. And we identify businesses will receive loan forgiveness, if they need additional support for something else, or we may think of other resources that may be able to support them in the process. And if we identify some that may not receive loan forgiveness, how can we get them in order to, that's always the ultimate goal for us. So yeah, so that is the timeline. Also, we will be in contact with you on things that I sort in between because we know it is some time and things that I sort. Again, you can always email Phila.gov with any questions or anything. This here is just some of the resources that we have. I mentioned the Catalyst Fund. We also have PBL incentive grants. And for all those that are in person and virtual, we will send you like a recap of the info session with questions that people asked, as well as additional resources from both the Department of Commerce and PIDC as well. Commerce, we also have our Mayor's Business Action Team, who are like our boots on the ground for small businesses, because programming. So I am, actively working on things in the program, trying to make sure that it moves, that people get their money and things that I spread. And so I always contact them as well. You can contact them and if you have quick questions or your buildings get back to you, they will also notify me too. And then they also deal with other things too, like support you with L&I, revenue, things like that, to make sure that you can get in contact with the right people, etc. Right, got it. And then we have a Philadelphia Business Resource Finder. Again, we have other programs at Commerce and at PIDC that we will include in a recap for you all. And now we're gonna get to the questions. Oh, you want me to go back for it? Does anybody have any questions?
Just to reiterate as well about personal credit, we do pull your personal credit for any business owner with 20% or greater interest in the business, but this loan or forgivable loan does not report on your personal credit. So it will be, if you pull the credit report 6 months in, you will not see it. Okay.
Any questions?
We have a handful online, but I'll start with folks in person. First for coming in.
Is joint venture revenue counted with your business?
Can you elaborate?
So I have my business and also have a joint venture. Does that joint venture revenue go into the 350,000 or more?
Is it? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask the reports of the tax return for the business.
Does
I think so. You're saying. Okay.
I think we have to understand.
Yeah, the context of it. Is it the same, is it two different businesses or
It
is
is
it the
us.
same business? Like, what's it's a little bit more in depth, like, what's the formation, like, of your business?
so there's my business part, and I formed a joint venture. Wind projects with that joint venture is my business and another business. I'm the majority owner of that one. So that business revenue is split, 51-49, and then that 51% is reported on my taxes under just my business.
Okay, I think so. I think you would just have to be like, a little bit clear when we're reviewing your documents and stuff, so people understand like what it is. Also, which one you're going to apply as.
My business, or
Okay, well, as long as the income is reporting on there as well, I think it should be fine, but you definitely need to be clear in your application about, because if I look, if we look it up and then there's like, okay, well, which one is he applying for? Things that's work. Once we're already in the review process, we don't have time to go back and ask you.
Right.
Like when if it's not clear, then
So,
Online, they need to hear you.
so do I have to be specifically located in Philadelphia as well? Because I have a small office in Philadelphia, but then we have a warehouse that's outside of Philadelphia. So does both of them have to be there, or is it just okay for my office to be there?
which one are you applying for? The answer is yes, the business has. Yeah.
So well, it's all one business. It's just that the warehousing of it is, because I have I get like a shared office space. But the warehouse where we keep the product is outside of Philadelphia. So we go there, the delivery vans grab the products, but as far as where we actually work, or I would say our offices are in Philadelphia.
Where, so,
But where is it registered?
yeah, where's the business?
Philadelphia.
Okay, then I think it should be fine. Any other questions?
There was a specific question about slide 11. I think this will be more so for the IDC. On that slide, what you should expect when working with PIDC, the question from Kristen Gibbons is payroll certifications. Can you explain a bit more about that?
So this specifically relates to in the event that, so you are awarded the boost your business 50,000, you receive it at closing, and in the event that the Commerce Department or PIDC do an audit of how you've spent your money, just to make sure that you spent it as as your protocol stated. So we may ask for evidence of how you spent that money, and that evidence includes invoices, payroll certificates, or executed contracts. So the payroll certificates is basically a copy of your payroll that you run every 2 weeks. That's as you run it. Exactly. So it's just your reporting.
Payroll.
Yeah, essentially.
So one more question. I did a mistake of applying to it. Because now I'm looking at the timelines, and my assumption was that the loan would be valid for this year. So my timeline is what? This year. I don't know, maybe I missed something on the reading about it. Is it something that's on the application that has the timelines?
No, oh, the key dates? No.
Yes,
this is why we have the info session for the key dates.
Yeah, so my assumption when I was applying was that it will be valid this year. So my dates were all this year. And I don't
Okay.
see, so that's why I think I need to edit my application.
Some of the other questions here are also from Kristen Gibbons. Do businesses that are struggling get more priority for the grant or healthy ones? And I feel like y'all talked about it, basically like, we all want you businesses to succeed. Whether or not, maybe like if it's like a low mod, some of our commerce programs does have like certain areas that are the priority. I think for Boost, you just need to be within the city of Philadelphia. I don't think there's a specific area that is highlighted. Would you say, Maya?
I'm not really sure how to answer the question. I mean, we look at the applications objectively based off, what they say. So I also don't know exactly what
Can't be a batch.
what is identified as struggling? Do you mean you're about to close? Or, like, are you okay, but you have areas of improvement in your business? If you have areas of improvement in your business, I think it's fine. But it's really based off what you submit. Like, that's what we go off of, in regards to the program, eligibility and guidelines. Because every business here, like, they're outside of, their requirements and what they submit on their growth loan. We don't really know the state of their business and where they're at unless they state it in there until we get to underwriting, and then that's when we get into more of the weeds where they break down, why they chose their growth plan, what they're looking to get out of the program and things of that sort. And, Karma will go through that with them.
And this is just booster, it's not save your business, right? So you can't be on the swirl on the ball and expect them to $50,000 to save you. So I think that's the expectation you should set.
Agreed.
50K is serious. We do not want to, battle someone with a loan that cannot be forgiven. So I think, again, it ties into what exactly is your plan, what have you listed, and there are other programs that at Commerce that can maybe help get you ready for this next step. So, if you feel good about applying, apply. We are reviewing each application with that serious intent of, hoping and planning for you all to succeed.
Agreed. Thank you.
Another question from Ruben. Does the 350K minimum annual revenue apply to both the 2024 and 2025 tax returns or just the most recent year?
Yes. It applies for 2024 and 2025.
Amanda asks, any of the panelists care to share their business's revenue at the time of your application? No, it has to be 350 minimum.
So let me answer that. The 350, I'm sorry, so the 350 was a minimum. But in this group, the average was about 1.2 to 1.3 million. And they ranged from a little over the 350 up to 10 or 11 million. But the average was about 1.2, 1.3 million. Without you all having to say.
Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, we have some in the Q&A box.
Okay, how long should the growth plan be, and should all of the metrics be specifically tied to employee-related growth, or can it be tied to income or contracts?
The growth plan, please don't submit a 30-page growth plan. That is not gonna guarantee your selection or anything of that. I think I don't have a specific page number, but I do think it should be the length to get, your intended growth plan, what you want to achieve as your growth plan and how you're planning to achieve it. Do you have anything specific?
But in this big one,
Yeah, so
budget. Growth goal. So growth goals, we said maybe around 3, and budget timeline, how these goals will translate to revenue growth in your business. And they should intrinsically be tied then to the projections you provide. So your growth goal, you shouldn't say this will help me to achieve 10% growth goal, and then your projections show 200% increase in revenue. You should have everything tied together. So I would say probably 2 to 3 pages, but again, it really depends on the business. It really depends on the goals.
And to answer the second question, your growth plan is surrounded around your business. So if you have a focus on, hiring, people, then that can be plan goals. However, if you want to increase the amount of contracts that you want to get around the city, that can be one of your growth plan goals. Both of them can be a part of your growth plan goals. It's really contingent on the business. So you can focus on either revenue growth plan goals, jobs, contracts, increase in production, things of that sort, and cater it towards your business. Next question.
Does this loan show up on owner's personal credit?
No, it does not.
I wanted to ask whether PIDC currently offers or helps facilitate new market tax credit financing.
Yes, we do. Happy to have this person reach out. Lachey, if you could take the details, we can connect with them.
Any more questions? No? Okay, thank you all. If you have any more questions, feel free to email us at boost@phila.gov. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, if they were personal, if you want to ask. Or if they're general, that's fine as well. The application ends on August 30th. So we encourage you to apply before then. Again, as they stated, start working on it now. So that way, if you do have questions, you can contact us in a timely manner and be able to get everything that you need to submit a good application. And I look forward to, seeing you guys' application. I want to say a special thank you to the panelists. As well, I appreciate your time. And then, also being, great, people in the previous cohort, yeah, the new cohort, they'll have big shoes to fill. Thank you so much. And thank you for my colleagues as well.
What's up, Doc?